Alrighty, CNT125, we're working on our switches, VLAN, and VLAN trunking lab. So right off the bat, I open up the directions here on D2L. I downloaded a copy of that for myself, and I have it here ready to go. I then downloaded the packet tracer file that's here into my downloads folder. I opened packet tracer, then opened my packet tracer file, and that is ready to go. And just for easy reference for our lab today, I saved the picture in the lab just to a graphic so I can easily reference it for you guys, so I'm not struggling so much scrolling back and forth. So I did that for me for you guys for reference. Again, as you're doing this lab, if you have a second monitor, slide the the lab itself, the lab sheet itself, to the second monitor, and then just have the packet tracer open in one over here, and it'll be a little easier. That's what I do when I'm writing labs for you guys. Okay. So here we go. As we look at the lab, the first part I remind you of is, again, always look at the lab and the network map and that sort of thing first, so you understand what you're doing before we dig in and do it. So if I look at the map on the second page, I have two switches here that I'm going to connect together, and I'm going to use a series of workstations. In real life, there would be IP phones and wireless access points here going into these different VLANs, but for easy testing, we're just using a workstation because I can pull up a command prompt in there and do pings to test traffic on that particular VLAN. So we're just using workstations for easy testing purposes. So we have a couple workstations that's going to go into this switch, a couple into this switch, and a crossover cable between them. All right, on the next page, I actually do tell you how I want you to hook these up. So we are going to connect PC 1, 2, and 3 into ports 1, 2, and 3 on this switch, and then 4, 5, and 6 on the second floor switch are going to go into ports 1, 2, 3 as well. So we'll get our connections here straight through for this guy into port 1. We'll keep it simple. Port 2 here into the switch, and then port 3 or PC 3 into port 3. Same thing on this guy, PC 4 into port 1, PC 5 into port 2, and PC 6 into port 3. All right. The next thing we're going to do, we do need to cable the two switches together. I think I actually had that up here for you. Make sure you're cabling two switches together, and for that we're using a crossover cable, and we're going to go gigabit to gigabit this time. We're going to go gigabit to gigabit, so I'm going to use crossover, this switch gigabit down here to this switch over here, gigabit 1 to gigabit 1. And again, between like devices we need a crossover cable. Between like devices we need a crossover cable. All right, so the cabling is done. The next thing we need to do is we do need to set the IP addresses on these machines, and you'll notice I have a note here about we're not setting default gateways. There is no routers in this network, so the default gateway would really be useless to us on our PCs. So we're just going to set IP and Subnet Mask. So if I look at my map, and I'm just going to keep it handy. Oh, get back here. There we go. I'm going to set 172.16.1, 201. 202, 203, 204, 205, 206. Just nice and simple. So I'm going to blast into here real quick. 172.16. Oh my goodness. 172.16. There we go. 1201. Oh my goodness. 1201. Click there. I can leave that subnet mask. Actually, I'm having you use the subnet mask. I'm having you use the Class C subnet mask. I don't need a default gateway. I can close that, and what I could do is I can just do an IP config right now and verify did that change occur, so I don't need to do that later. This one, IP config 172.16.1.202 because it's PC2, and I'm just going to paste the subnet mask in. Go to the desktop, IP config. Looks good. PC3. 172.16.1.203. Paste the subnet mask in. Default gateway looks good. I don't need it. IP config. There's 203. And I'm just going to go right down the line over here on the other side as well. Paste in the subnet mask. Go out here, IP config, check to make sure it's changed, and it has. 205. Paste the subnet mask in. Go here to the command prompt. There's 205, looking good. Last one, 206. Oops, got ahead of myself on that one. There we go. Paste the subnet mask in. There we go. Command prompt IP config. And looking good. Okay. So now that I have all the IP address is set, we're verifying with IP config, which I did along the way. And I want to make sure I can ping other nodes. Again, we haven't configured anything in the switches, so all of this communication between devices should work. There's nothing stopping this. So I'm going to come over here, open a command prompt, I'll do a ping, and I'm going to do 172.16.1, and I'm going to do 204. I'm going to go to computer 4, and that should work. And I'm going to go here, I'm going to have this guy go to computer 5. So ping 172.16.1, 205. Looks good. And this guy I'm going to ping 172.16.1, 206. Okay. So 1 has pinged 4, 2 has pinged 5, 3 has pinged 6. So everything is connected, functioning as it should. If you run into anything not functioning, check your cables again, check your IP subnet mask, make sure they're correct, and verify command prompt. Look for those typos. All of this should ping. There should be no connectivity issues at this point. So use those tricks, use those things to find that typo, find that problem now. All right. Now we're actually going to get into configuration. So in the next podcast, I'm going to go into the switch configuration.